Hey Haseeb, check out this article that mi abuela shared with me on Facebook.
You know that isn't real, right?
Wait, but I just shared this.
Yikes, it seems like your abuela has not only been clickbaited, but clickbaited you.
Dang it.
Hello, I'm Haseeb.
And I'm Carlos.
We live in a world where pretty much everyone has access to the internet, something that contains more information than what one human could probably take. With that comes a huge price.
That price is the need to combat clickbait and fake news articles that, while seeming real, are very fake. These articles will look real and will entice you with a catchy title, hence the name clickbait.
However, these articles are far from accurate, and oftentimes will make people believe in facts that just aren't real in any way. That's why it's important for every person to know how to spot clickbait in articles that lie.
So, to speak out, we'll go through 3 methods that you can use to figure out if an article is fake, as well as explaining further why clickbait is such a harmful practice.
Before we go into the ways you can combat clickbait and fake news, we must first give you a basic understanding of what clickbait is.
Clickbait is something that attracts your eye by using techniques that make something look way more enticing than it really is. And examples of clickbait. These techniques are usually through misleading titles or a thumbnail with an enticing picture.
Now, clickbait is pretty bad, and honestly, it hooks people into reading some really strange stuff. However, the issue arises when this clickbait leads into something known as fake news or alternative facts.
Essentially, fake news are articles that use false facts to create a narrative that seems interesting and exciting, all while seeming to be real.
However, they are not real, and many people fall into the trap of thinking they are real. And that is where the problem begins. Once the clickbait hooks a reader, it drags the reader down into a rabbit hole of false information.
After that one quick share on Facebook or any other media source, it will cause many people online to not only be fed false facts, but they might spread it themselves, which creates an almost unbreakable chain that keeps going and going.
With the rise of social media, this problem has only grown stronger. Now it is a tool that is used to spread fake news under the guise of clickbait faster and more effectively. How? Hunt Allcott and Matthew Genskow explained in their article Social Media and Fake News in the 2016 election that
social media platforms such as Facebook have a dramatically different structure than previous media technologies. Content can be relayed among users with no significant third-party filtering, fact-checking, or editorial judgment. An individual user with no track record or reputation can in some cases reach as many readers as Fox News, CNN, or the New York Times.
With social media and our nature to trust most of the content we read, people tend to perpetuate and spread these fake articles that sound interesting, yet have no substance in them that is actually true. The danger in all of this is that misinformed people are more divided and easier to rule over. Another concern is that people in power can use this misinformation to further divide people and make them argue.
So, you're saying that the article that my grandma posted on Facebook about how Obama is a lizard and the lizard people are planning on taking over is fake?
Yeah, it is. Now that you have a basic understanding of clickbait and why it's so dangerous, let us look at the methods to combat it. So the first way one can spot a clickbait article and know when an article is lying is knowing if the website you are using is reliable or not.
A quick search can pretty much clear up if a website is reliable or not. This is because websites that lie once usually tend to not stop there.
This line starts to gray, however, when you compare sites like Fox News and CNN, meaning that it's hard to compare big name and heavily followed news sources because they have so many people who back them.
And that is why this is such an important topic, because these clickbait and fake news articles feed on your political stance. They twist stories into something you wish were true and present themselves in such a way in which you accept that it is a fact. It's gotten so bad that web pages have started to copy the look and format of prominent news sources such as CNN and Fox and claim to be those sources. They spread fake news and hope to trick the general masses.
So how can you spot one of these sites? One way is to look at the full title of the web page, the URL. Many of the official web pages, especially colleges and corporations, will end with a .org. Other more famous sources have very commonly known URLs, so it's easy to see if they are fake.
And if that's not the case, then look for the author. Most of the time, the fake articles will have the author's name removed to avoid tracking. So do a little research on the authors of the articles you read, just to make sure that they are qualified or they're an official writer for the web page. Another way you can spot a fake news website is doing a background search on the article.
Most likely you will find an interesting article through social media or some other source of getting articles such as Flipboard.
Once you have entered a clickbait article, the website goal is to keep you in their website as long as possible, moving from article to article. So keep in mind that they are trying to keep you interested.
These companies want you to click on as many articles as possible, and they are using your choices to recommend articles that you are interested in.
There are multiple ways you can background check an article. You can either look up the author or the website itself.
There are multiple websites that are dedicated to checking if articles are fake and if news sources are reliable.
One quick search will not only clear up whether what you're reading is fake, but make you a much more informed person.
To look at the scope of this lack of background checks and spreading fake news, a website has gone through what our president Donald J. Trump has said on his Twitter, and has found only 30% were half true to true.
That is just astonishingly false.
Nope, and we can find that out by one quick Google search. We can see this on politifact.com. It's a website that fact-checks politicians and has received multiple awards for their work. This website is funded by Tampa Bay Times, ad revenue, and nonpartisan grants. So yes, it is reliable. It has, however, caught backfire from both conservatives and liberals.
So you're saying that it is reliable, but still should be taken with a grain of salt.
Exactly, and that is how most news should be taken. It's sad that we live in a world where we must be wary of our news, but here we are, the age of fake news. So every time you read an article, odds are it's not going to agree with your political opinion, which will lead you to find a website that does, and it might not paint the entire picture. So it's important to not only get one story from multiple sites, but also background check them.
So this brings us to our last method of dealing with clickbait and fake articles. This method is less technical and more about you, the reader.
People are more likely to go back to read something they agree with, and are more likely to spread something that either angers them or supports their viewpoint. And it only takes one person with a lot of followers to spread a completely false article. The more their article is spread, the more dangerous it becomes. And while it might be easy to disprove it, it's hard to inform all of the people who have read the article how it is false.
It's no coincidence that the trending news on the New York Times are about upsetting events. It's not a coincidence that you see ads about the latest political controversies. It's no coincidence you see articles in your recommended list related to your interest and your past searches. It's a strategy to gain more viewers. But we don't stop to realize how much it is really affecting us.
We browse, we click, we read, and we click some more. It's an endless cycle that can look harmless at first, but starts to become slowly more invasive. No matter what the topic is, once you click on the link, the website gets what they want, and information about you.
This gets really dangerous with articles that affect our daily lives, whether it is on politics or economics. You need to avoid getting persuaded by fake and biased articles, because it will lead you to a mislead discourse with your peers.
As hard as it may be, you need to look at the article from the most neutral perspective as possible, because in many instances the authors leave out important details to persuade you more.
We are afraid to be wrong, so we look for something to tell us that we are right. Bias and fake articles make us think that we are right, or that we will find the one article to disprove someone in an argument. But we don't understand that these things can't be 100% accurate.
They are very smart, but that is why you need to be smarter. Understand that they are being paid for getting you to click on their article, to see their website and get you to believe what they want. Be smart, look at the facts, and see it from both sides, and see the whole picture. So there you have it. Make sure the source is reliable, do some background search on the authors, and try to look at the article as neutrally as possible.
Well, this seems like something bleak and something that is impossible to combat. It isn't.
You have to take everything you see on the internet with a grain of salt. Not just that, but you have to understand that most of the time these news sources only care about the money they make off of you and not what kind of content you are reading.
And the more you read these articles, the more you start to believe them and start to accept them as facts. If you don't believe us, Dr. Daniel Polich from Central Washington University stated that exposure to false stories increase the perceived plausibility and truthfulness of those stories. This suggests that simply exposing participants to false information will increase belief in the false information. End quote.
Today it's very easy to spread information, which causes a massive spread of unchecked articles that can mislead readers. And just keep in mind, everything we just said might also be fake. We might just be trying to manipulate you into believing what we want you to.
So be smart, be cautious, and preserve your precious clicks. And we hope this has been very useful to you. I'm Carlos.
I'm Haseeb.
And this is a well-researched and neutral idea we think is worth sharing.